Yes, Moses Ituama is turning heads in the boxing world. At just 19 years old, he's tipped to be the heavyweight superstar of the future, and from day one of his pro career, the goal has been clear: to beat the record of Mike Tyson, who became the youngest heavyweight champion at just 20 years old and 4 months. Now, okay, time is running out. He does need to get a bit of a fucking shift on. In fact, he's only got till May 2025 if he's gonna do it, and we'll talk about if it actually can be done in a minute. But first, in a nutshell, this man is nothing short of a double naughty problem. So with 10 wins on his record, 8 inside the distance and 6 knockouts in a row in the last 11 months, the young southpaw is now at a crossroads where things are about to get interesting. He's knocked out plenty of milkmen, and the Marius Wack fight was a real statement, even if he is about 400 fucking years old. However, now he's about to find himself up against some livelier opposition. He's hovering around that English title level, the Fishers, the Adelaides, the Dacres. Then he's maybe a nipple length away from British level, the Wardleys, the Clarks, etc. And time will tell if he's a strong fixture at world level, but judging by what we've seen so far, he may well be. Now let me just give you a little bit of background. Moses was actually born in Slovakia in 2004, his mother being Slovakian and his father Nigerian, but having experienced some race issues, the family decided to move to England, and from 2008 he was settled down in the heart of Kent. Now his first taste of boxing came at just 9 years old when his brother Carol took him to the local gym, but within minutes of being there he thought, nah, fuck this, too hard bruv, and gave it up to enjoy football with his other brother Samuel. However, he just couldn't stay away. He later gave it another crack, joining St Mary's ABC in Chatham, and found himself addicted to watching videos of the brilliant Naz, who became his favourite fighter. So in them early teenage years, his boxing ability began to thrive, and he'd already adopted the frame of a fully grown man, so he was thrown in the deep end to spar heavyweights at the age of just 13.
It was a blessing and a curse, because obviously when I went to the gym I always had to spar the heavyweights, and I was only 12, 13 year old, so...
Yes, this man's amateur career as a junior was pretty much flawless, with 24 wins and 11 knockouts, which may not sound like a lot. However, he also got a lot of experience elsewhere, because at just 14 and 15 years old he was sparring the likes of Joe Joyce, Lawrence Okoli, Daniel Dubious and even AJ. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? He'd actually arrived to the gym in his school uniform. When I was in school uniform I was flicking a fucking bogey about. He was fighting some of the best in the world. Fucking madness. And he certainly weren't there as just a punch bag. No, Joyce and Okoli both said he's some of the best and hardest sparring they've ever had. Now, whereas most teenagers find it hard keeping on the straight and narrow, Moses stuck to a rigorous training regime with a careful diet, and this disciplined lifestyle led to a glittering amateur career consisting of gold medals in the schools, juniors, European and the heavyweight youth tournaments. In fact, in the Europeans he actually knocked out every single opponent in the first round. He didn't even need a fucking shower after. Probably just put his uniform back on and fucked off back to school. And then from here on, the word was spreading of this future star of the sport. It even spread all the way to Uncle Frank's earlobes, who at the end of 2022 snapped him up double pronto.
The kid can fight, there's no doubt about that. And he can bang.
So on the 5th of January 2023, barely a week after his 18th birthday, Moses was unveiled to the world under Queensberry Promotions, and they wasted no time whatsoever lobbing him on the undercard of Baturba Bivliov versus Yard. And, well then Moses wasted no time whatsoever in the ring. Only took him 23 seconds to get the fucking knockout. Not a bad debut that. Then his second fight was pretty similar, only 35 seconds this time, blimey. Now don't get me wrong, as usual with a prospect and his first few fights, they're never going to be up against world beaters. Actually, you know what? You can always tell how good a fighter is by their shorts, can't you? If they're wearing some that look like they've been ordered from fucking Temu, like this bloke, they usually do get fucking walloped, don't they? Anyway, even though he was making a statement, Moses said it pissed him off, these two fights, because he wanted a bit of competition, someone who's going to bring the best out of him, which is a good thing to hear from a young fighter. And interestingly, he then got a little bit of that next time out. To be honest, he had what I suppose you could consider a little bit of a lull after his phenomenal start with 2 points win victories against Briish Boxing and Espin Diddly Diddly Dollar. Yes. In fairness though, both men hadn't been knocked out before. They were double tough, so it didn't hurt his trajectory too much, and anyway, it showed us there was more to Ituma's arsenal than just a heavy punch. He showed us he's very good at creating angles, there's some solid footwork in there, and he's economical in his work rate. So I mean, yes, okay, maybe you'd expect a potential future star to knock these people out. However, we had to remember he's still only 18 years old. But then, He went on a fucking rampage. Yes, 4 first-round knockouts in a row in just 6 months, sending shockwaves through the British heavyweight scene, and bloody hell did he look good doing it, is what I mean when I say he's not just a puncher. Have a look at this little cracking move. Here he goes. Yes, cheeky duck, and bosh, how good's that? I mean, yes, okay, another Timu fucking Schultz bloke, but still, Big Mo was making waves, and after yet another second-round knockout on the undercard of Fury Usyk, he was then stepped up to old Marius Wakos, who's been an absolute trooper on the heavyweight scene for many years. He's been in with them all, but nobody, yes, nobody done to him in such quick fashion what Moses did to him that night. Yes. And here we are. Now let's rewind a little bit, because a couple of fights prior, the comparisons were being drawn to the other British heavyweight prospects of today, and here they are. And by the way, people, this is the cream of the crop, the future of Britain's heavyweight scene, when AJ Fury, White Chisora, Joe Joyce, etc. all hang them up, which won't be long. So tell me your thoughts on that. Will they live up to what these boys have given us over the years, or are these men simply unreplaceable? That's for another video, but let me know your thoughts. Anyway, yes, with Solomon Dakers picking up the English title, Fabio Wardley nicking the British, and Johnny Fisher the Southern area, Moses was understandably being put on their radar. Oh, and talking of Solomon Dakers, Moses is a real big fan of him.
Fabio Wardley beat David Adelaide in Saudi Arabia. You've got Solomon Dakers, you've got Fraser Clark. Who is the best? Solomon Dakers trash, yeah?
Trash.
There we are. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think Moses is an absolute fucking nightmare for all of them. Whereas all these have their own styles and strings to their bow. For instance, Fabio being seriously tough, Johnny Fisher having heavy hands, Fraser being technically well-rounded, then Dakers and Adelaide showing decent parts here and there. Moses seems to have the full package. The only thing we're waiting on is a chin check and to see if he's got that dog in him when he's under the cosh. But yeah, when I say he's probably a nightmare for all of them, I reckon they all know that as well, because even though I'm sure they're all man enough to step in the ring with him, everyone's a little bit cautious around his name at the minute. However, putting that to one side and bringing it back to the Mike Tyson record that Frank has been banging on about, Moses only has 9 months left as we stand here in August in order to achieve it. And if you whittle that down to a fight every 3 months or 4 fights at the very maximum, which is a stretch to be fair, then that means he's going to have to go through the English, the British scene and get on the world scene in just a few fights. It's a lot to ask for, but I suppose it can be done. Because after the Fury Usyk rematch, when the belts potentially get scattered, fuck knows where the WBA and the WBO are going to land, but Uncle Frank's pretty tight with these bodies, and I'm sure he could do a bit of cooking of the old books to get Moses a crack. In fact, did you know he's already 10th in the WBO rankings? Blimey, Frank's made some fucking phone calls already. He knows what he's doing, old Bricktop. Terrific stuff. However, I suppose we are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, because who could it be for his next fight? Does he skip the UK belt scene and just go straight to the European or the world jugglers in order to fast track himself to a world title? I mean, I'm double sure he beats Manuel Char, for example, who's next in line for the WBA. There you go, bet your fucking bumhole we see Ituama versus Char for a world title. But yes, you never know, we could see Moses surpass this lot in order to chase that dream, which would be a bit of a shame. Hopefully we do see these boys in with him at some point though. Either way, don't take your eyes off this man, because he's about to cause some havoc. Let me know your thoughts on Big Mo, and ta-ra for now.